Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Self Care is My Job. Hi, I'm Samantha Long. I am the owner of Aligned Heart Yoga and Self Care and the host of this podcast and YouTube show, Self Care is My Job. And I just want to say hello. This is episode number 8. And the significance of that is not lost on me in any way. I mean, obviously, it's not lost on me because it's personal to me. My favorite number and my lucky number is number 8, and, it feels right because this is a special episode for me, even though I'm very early on in the stage of developing this show. um, it's a very meaningful episode to me because it's an intro into what I'm gonna be doing for the next 3 months, for January, February, and March. What we're gonna be doing is having conversations with guests, experts in wellness, as we've been doing. Definitely there will be additional episodes for yoga, for meditation, for all that good stuff, but we're gonna be having some really important conversations about self-care as a means to supporting and balancing your mind, body, and spirit. Um, so I just wanted to come on and sort of have a intro episode to really just dig into what does that even mean? Like, what are we even talking about? What is the goal right now when we're talking about supporting our mind, body, and spirit, or mind, body, and soul, depending on how you've heard it? Um, why do we want to do that? And how do we do it? And why do we wanna do that, as in, how will that help us to work on other areas of our life? So, for example, it's January 2021, new year, new you, right? Like, let's get it going type of deal. Um, and I'm not a huge fan of all that new year, new you bullshit because I don't subscribe to the idea that you need to have a new year to reboot. I mean, I literally reboot 3 or 4 times throughout every single damn day, and I don't care because you know what? If it gives me the opportunity to reset my mindset, to check in with my body, or to stop what I'm doing and take a few breaths, or to start honoring some messages that my body or my mind or my spirit are sending to me. If I need at any point in any day, at any moment to reboot for that purpose, I'm going to do it in that moment. And I'm not going to wait for a new month or a new week or a new year. But that being said, the whole point is to really just real quick talk about um, in that way, more subtly moving into 2021 by setting an intention instead of developing this laundry list or bucket list of to dos and action plans for 2021. How about just more subtly setting an intention to take better care of your whole self, your mind, body, and your soul, balancing all three if we can, so then we get to a place where we're so self sustaining and self aware, and we trust ourselves so wholly and entirely that making additional changes in our lives, like starting a business or or finding a new relationship, these really big milestone items, that you really we're always urging, we always have this urge to check off those big things at the beginning of every year, right? Or make that happen for that year. But what if we could take a year, an entire year, or longer, because it really is just an ongoing process. What if we can take whatever time we need to really just get in touch with ourselves from a mind, body, and spirit perspective, and really um, come to a place where we are balanced and we can show up as our whole selves in any situation. So when we want to make big changes in our lives, or when we're just living our day to day, with our family, our kids, our significant other, our job, whatever, showing up as your whole self, fully confident, fully loving yourself, and fully trusting yourself, to a place where in a place where we can just feel comfortable and not be second guessing ourselves all the time. And then, from that space of total like comfort and awareness, then we take on the bigger things, right? And I guess patience is a real big piece of that too. So I have some notes here, and just a reminder. I mean, you don't need a reminder if you're watching this, I'm live. So it's just going to be like, let's see how this goes. And it's the first time I'm doing a live episode solo. So cut me a little slack. Um, You'll notice I've got my mic here this time. I really want my voice to be clear for the podcast, so I'm trying to incorporate new things. And I've actually had this mic for the longest time. Why? Because I sing, and I purchased this for myself. I just find these things very funny. I purchased this producer mic for myself years and years ago. Probably used it twice, and I spotted it a few days ago, like in a drawer, and I was like, "Oh my god, duh, like, this is what I need to be using now." So, hashtag blessed, hashtag thankful. Um, so here we go. Every Sunday now through January through March, there will be a new episode of Self-Care is My Job. And in that order, in January, February, and then March, we'll be covering mind, body, and spirit. So for January, we're focused on the mind. In February, we'll go deeper into the body, and really like perfect segue, right? Like getting out of your head and into your body in February. Um, and then from there in March, we'll take it to spirit, to soul, to that place of your inner child, to that space where you're in alignment with your true self, your true essence, your true nature, that little voice inside, that intuition. That's spirit, that's soul. Although we're going to be getting deeper now into what each of these really means for you, personally. Um, I really want to talk today about mind, body, and spirit, and the concept of acknowledging their connection with each other, and how we get to a space not only where we are supporting ourselves in those three very important areas, but we are acknowledging their connection and the importance of their unity. I'll get into this in a few, but as some of you know, I'm a yoga instructor, and I've been practicing yoga just my own personal practice for probably close to 15 years. And for many, many years I practiced yoga without knowing that I was in the process of balancing my mind, body, and soul. Um Many people come to the practice of yoga for the physical aspect, and then they get a lot more than they paid for. And that's kind of what happened to me. So we'll talk about the benefits of yoga in relation to the unity of mind, body, and spirit, as well. I'm going to be not only just grazing over it in this episode, but having some much deeper conversations with some awesome individuals about that. So let's start with the mind. Um, and lately I've been getting a lot of requests from people in my Facebook group, and from a few people who have been watching the show, that I don't want to say shock me, but kind of taken back for a moment, because there are a few requests and questions that I've been getting that are kind of like an example of how disconnected people have come from their own mind, body, and spirit. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all, because that's the purpose of incorporating a practice into your life, is to heal, right, from that space. Um, but I just want to draw some attention to the idea that if you're in a space where you're listening to this right now and it says Mind, Body, and Spirit 101, and you're thinking, that's great because I'm like at a 101 level, like I don't even know where to start with self care. I don't even know where to start with supporting my mind, body, and spirit. I don't even know what I need. Like, I don't know. That is fine. Like, do not for a second guilt or shame yourself for being in that space. If you're listening to my voice right now, you're already on a path to trying to figure that out for yourself. And that's part of your journey and your practice. So go you. Um, and then also just be aware that when you're in a place where you just don't even know what you need to get yourself to the where you want to be, and how you want to feel and how you want to show up in life. It just means that we need to work on mind, body, and spirit. We need to work on connecting the three so that you're in alignment. I mean, this show, literally, if you look at the branding and the banner for the YouTube show, it's self-care for true self-alignment. And what I mean by that is quite literally coming into alignment with your true self, and doing that by connecting your mind, body, and spirit, becoming single focused, single minded, a very aligned and focused vision of who you are and who you've always been, and not allowing all the external factors of the world to get in the way, to muddy that vision, and to even further dictate how you show up every day, right? You're you, you've always been you, but then there's a lot of things that come in and cloud that whole vision. So we are attempting, by just working on incorporating self-care that's going to support mind, body, and spirit, little by little, very gradually, we chip away at that cloudiness and we detox away a lot of the um, unnecessary and unproductive thought patterns that get in our way of just showing up as our true self and in alignment every single day. So I'll go back to, where I started a few minutes ago, the mind. I digress. The mind. So we're just going to talk about this from the perspective of your health overall, your overall health. So when we talk about the mind, we're talking about mental health. How can I support my mental health? That's what you ask yourself if you're thinking that that's the area that needs the most help, that needs the most focus at that given moment or time or whatever. Um then that's where we focus for that day. Your general mindset, your belief systems, your thought patterns, um, your mental health, as far as even if there are diagnosable or diagnose mental health concerns or illnesses that you need to focus on and prioritize as your wellness attempt, or place that at the forefront of your mind. The body, your physical health. So we went from mind, your mental health, to your body. You think about your physical health overall, everything. And considering I'm a yoga teacher, there was a lot in my training about anatomy and about every darn system in the body. And although it lights me up and it gets me all excited, I'm not going to remember everything to review with you right now. So don't expect me to. But what I will say is everything from your muscular skeletal system, your muscular system, of course, I have to mention, as a yoga instructor, your myofascial system. So that is your connective tissue. We talk a lot about the muscular system. So, like, for example, when there's something going on in the body and you have pain, right? Um, a lot of times it'll either go, you'll say, okay, I either need to go to an ortho, right? Like an orthopedic, because it's a bone issue or a joint issue or something like that. Or I need to go, maybe to physical therapy because it's muscular, or get like a deep tissue massage, or a medical massage because it's muscular. And then there's this whole other system in the body that can cause discomfort and a lot of contrainment, which is called our myofascial system. It's all the connective tissue that covers, and connects the bone and the muscle together. And that's the end of the tangent. I'll go on myofascial, but we I mention it because when we talk about mind, body, and spirit, I mean literally, like, hear this now, guys. You gotta get your body in order if you want to feel good, and I don't mean just feel good. Um, in the body. I don't mean just not have pain and have, substantial mobility and things like that. I'm talking about, how can we be mentally okay if we're walking around with our shoulders up to our ears and living in a state of physical tension, right? So everything is connected. Everything is connected in this way. And then even more with the body, I won't go too much into this, but all the systems, like I mentioned, your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your nervous system, and all of the systems, right? If you want to know more information on any of these concepts, please do email me because I'm happy to go into, more anatomy stuff as far as really, really coming to a full understanding of what we mean by supporting your physical health and really getting into how you're how to strengthen and heal your body. Um, your spirit or soul, right? Sometimes you hear mind, body, spirit or mind, body, soul. Your spirit is your emotional and spiritual health. So that alignment with your true self, that connection to your inner child, that way of living in accordance with your true essence, the person you've always been. Um, and also the idea of self love, self trust, your intuition, and also the concept of the being instead of doing, which I'll get into a little bit, I'm sure, in this series. The concept of like, you are a human being. I need you to go up. I'm in the middle. Go up. Bye. I'll see you in a minute. I love you. Live, guys. Um, Emotional and spiritual health also a part of that, the concept of you're a human being, you're not a human doing, right? So really, the spiritual and emotional health comes when you can start to slow down and incorporate a presence practice and really absorb what's going on around you and be there and now in that moment, right? um those things don't come, like out of nowhere. Everything is a practice. It's called a practice for a reason. So we start to incorporate it little by little, and then we um and then we have patience with ourselves. And that's it. End of story, because it's an ongoing journey. Um so alignment, or the act of balancing the mind, body, and spirit, is focusing your attention on your whole self. So if it's helpful to you at all, if there's a question in your mind of like, okay, but why mind, body, spirit? Like, why these three areas, right? It's just a really wonderful way to embrace the concept of your whole self. So we can't really just be fine only focusing on one. And I'll give you one example, which obviously is an easy one. Most people, when they think of self care, they think of exercise, physical self care, not even, a very specific form of physical self care, whether you're a cardio person or you're a yoga person or you're you go to your bar class once a week, you do your Pilates, whatever it is, they focus their self care specific to the physical and the body. Um, But what if you are hitting Pilates class every single week and then having 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night to band-aid some emotional trauma that you haven't addressed? Not only will that wine or that alcohol or whatever the drug is or whatever, or even if it's food, right? Not only will that come in and negate the physical health, maybe not completely negate, but definitely lessen the physical health that you are trying to attain with your Pilates or whatever the physical self care you're incorporating is. Um, but your whole fulfillment and contentment will not be there. Um, if you are very into um taking care of your mental health and you go to, say, and you work with a coach or you go to talk therapy, for example, um but you are in constant, actually I have people in my life who are dealing with this exact thing. You're trying to take care of your mental health, whether that means talk therapy or medication or whatever it is, and you still have all this pain and discomfort in your body and you don't know where it's coming from because you haven't done the work and maybe seen the specialists or asked the right questions to figure out why you have all this pain, and the professionals maybe that you are working with are not incorporating that physical um, wellness as a part of why you might not feel fulfilled and healthy and happy in your day to day. So all of these things are connected and equally important in that way, the mind, body, and the spirit. And now I'm going to give you some examples of types of self care that are going to support one or more of these areas. But I am going to start by reiterating a quote by a quote from someone that recently interviewed. Her name is Ankara Rose, and she is a pleasure specialist and a breathwork facilitator. She's absolutely amazing. I'm going to have her back on the show as part of this series. And what she said about self care that really resonated with me, and it's been in my mind ever since, is it doesn't matter what it is, it matters what it does for you. It doesn't matter what it is, it matters what it does for you. So I'm using that quote to um let you guys just sort of to let that marinate. Like, you don't be a perfectionist about what types of self-care you need, and let me sit in meditation for 15 minutes and let me really really listen to every message that my body is sending me and see what I need today. If that is available to you and you're into it, go and do your thing. However, don't overthink it. It doesn't matter what it is, it matters what it does for you. So basically, just like kind of throw yourself into something. And if you need suggestions, I am here for you, and see what it does for you. See how it feels. If it feels good, keep doing it. you know? Um, your mind. So let's start with mind, body, and then spirit. Your mind. How can I support my mental health? So, some examples of forms of self care that you can use to support your mental health and to balance your and to support that area of your mind. Of course, like we mentioned, talk therapy. So that is something that is it's amazing because it's more and more readily available to us. Now there are virtual options. You could do therapy via text. It's wonderful. Um, and obviously also the concept of, like, do not shame yourself if you feel like you are in a place where you need talk therapy. It is not that anymore. Like, there is no shame in that game. Um, we need a, sort of totally subjective space to, like, vent. Venting is one thing to your friends, but let's face it, sometimes it's not really comfortable to say everything to a friend. And so really, sort of wrap your head around that. The idea, especially with everything going on in the world these days, talk therapy is massive for your supporting your mind and your mental health. Um, and then there's just general mindset work. So we're going to get more into each of these concepts, and then more during this series of mind, body, spirit. But when I say mindset work, I mean growth mindset, which is basically the concept of like your any mistake, or not overthinking, like when you want to try something new, because any mistake that you will make, or any supposed failure, is a growth opportunity. So there are people that have a growth mindset and that have chosen to take on a growth mindset, and then there are people with a fixed mindset where they think, those are the people who say, well, that's just the way that I am, or it is what it is. Those people. I ain't into those people, sorry. Even though I kind of used to be one of those people. So, really embodying that growth mindset, the concept of, like, I do not need to get it right every single time, giving yourself space to make mistakes and therefore to grow. Limiting beliefs, so like whole belief systems and thought patterns that were, like, taught to you in childhood, that you're, like, still embracing for no good reason because they don't support your current lifestyle. There are plenty of therapists that work on these same concepts, but these, when I'm talking about mindset work, these are concepts that I actually work with my clients on in our discussion based coaching sessions, versus the yoga based coaching sessions. Um, because mindset is massive for, you know, supporting your mind as a whole self approach. And then you have the concept of perfectionism, which I won't go too deep into, but it's part of that mindset work, like letting go of perfect, letting go of even the idea of perfect, embodying the idea that not only yoga, but life itself is a practice. It's all a practice. That's why you hear the concept of a mindfulness practice, a presence practice. The reason is because it's never gonna be perfect, ever. Like, and you'll be even balancing. I don't even like to talk about finding work-life balance or like finding work-play balance. I don't like to talk about it from finding something because that perfect balance is fleeting. It's like it might be you might have that balance for like a moment, and then you're not back where you were, but you come away from that, and then you're kind of continually attempting to find that balance. That's the journey. It's not like, "Okay, I found it." So letting go of perfect. Um Other ways to support your mental health and support your mind, having a gratitude practice, so like practicing the positive thinking and like training your brain to spot and focus on the positive things going on in your day to day, as opposed to, many people's brain, what they do is they're looking for those negative things that pop up from the day to day, because we're in this whirlwind mindset of whose life is harder, and the more I struggle, the more successful I'll eventually be. And like all of those, again, thought patterns that are unproductive for us. So training your brain to focus on the positive by having a gratitude practice. Mindfulness, which we'll talk about a little bit more because it supports mind, body, and spirit. Moving on to the body, how can I support my physical health? What types of self care can I incorporate into my life to support my physical health? Movement overall is a big one, and within the concept within the category of movement, I'm talking about not only exercise but stretching, the yoga, whether that, again, it could be anything, could be your cardio, could be your kickboxing, your pilates, your karate, like, you would all the things, incorporating that movement into your life. And you could get more specific, like, types of exercises that increase your heart rate, like cardio, types of exercises like yoga that really help with supporting your body in that myofascial system, all the connective tissue. um More on physical health and the body, your diet. And I don't mean a diet, I mean your diet, like what you eat. I shouldn't even use that. It should be like ingestion. Like, instead of the word diet, the word ingestion I'll use from now. What are you ingesting? What are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your body? Um, Lifestyle, which is, hand in hand with that. What are you putting in your body? Are you abusing alcohol? Are you a smoker? But also lifestyle as far as like, are you too stagnant? Do you sit too much? Do you need more movement in your life for your physical health? Sex, physical release is really like the main category, but like my two things that I like to mention as far as, physical health is not only crying, because it is a physical release, and sex is as well, orgasm specifically. We'll talk about that as well. Rest, sleep, um healthy food, what are you eating? A healthy environment. So like, is your environment clean? Are you keeping your home clean? What are you breathing in? Once again, what are you ingesting? And getting some fresh air at that. So that's the types of self-care that you can kind of either check, the ways you can check in with yourself for your balance and health of your body, but specific types of self-care as well that you can incorporate to support that. How can I support my spiritual and emotional health? So we're on to spirit or soul now. Meditation, which obviously we're going to talk a lot about in the series, and its connection with yoga and so on and so forth. Breath work as well. So meditation and breath are two major, major parts of not only a yoga practice, but you can have them independently as well, that will really get you used to, which, because there is a discomfort that comes with that practice, right? Because we're not used to sitting in stillness. Um, that will really help you get used to being present, and reconnecting with your true essence, your true nature, on the person you've always been on the inside, reconnecting with them. Another way to support your spiritual and mental health is to incorporate your hobbies. Make time for your hobbies. So, for example, I'm a singer, which I mentioned, and it's like weird when I even say those words, like I'm a singer. But I am, and I not only will cover songs, but I'm a songwriter. And when I do that, it's crazy because I always say this: I am at no other point in life am I more myself than when I'm singing, because what's come, especially now after years of kind of honing that hobby and like allowing it to really like be a part of me. When I sing, it's like what's coming out of me is all me. Like I'm not trying to embody, I'm not trying to imitate something. It's just me, especially when I write a song, right? So you are like honoring your true self on like the most ridiculous level when you just let something flow out of you, whether it's a hobby or it's art or whether it's tangible or not, right? Really let yourself tinker with something, and be in it. And of course, it does wonders for a presence practice when you're, working on something that you really enjoy and you're really into. Um, so other ways you can sport other ways you could support yourself from a spirit perspective. Giving yourself some alone time, especially for moms like myself, like it can be difficult, but all you need to do is schedule it and maybe even ask for the support that you need to make that happen. Alone time is a massive, massive thing for most people. Some people don't like to be alone. So it's really just about figuring out what is needed for you. Um, yeah, spending time in nature, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. So, like, when you feel like the tears coming on, for example, you allow yourself to have that release. It's big. So, the last thing I'm going to talk about before my computer dies, because I feel like this is glitching right now, actually. The last thing I'm going to mention is that from a yoga perspective, like, I have to mention yoga. It really does, take care of mind, body, and spirit. The meaning of yoga in Sanskrit is to yoke. It literally means to unite. So, I wanna give you I wanna just leave you with that and invite you to reach out to me if you feel like you are interested in first getting into yoga or meditation or breath or all 3. I'm definitely gonna be offering a lot more virtual yoga in the coming year. So you can go to alignedheart.net, alignedheart.net, um, /yoga to see all of my offerings in that area. I'm also available for self-care, personalized coaching. And the other thing I wanted to mention was what we're going to talk about a lot on the show as well. It is mindfulness and presence. So those are also two practices that go hand in hand that will support mind, body, and soul, collectively, because when you have a presence or a mindfulness practice, you can get out of your head. So you're aware, you become like self aware of what is going on with you, whether it's external or internal. You can get out of your head and into your body, because when you're mindful, the whole concept of being mindful is to like have this deliberate focus on whatever it is that you're doing or where you are at that present moment, right? So that means that I can deliberately get out of this whirlwind of thoughts in my head and get into my body and ground myself to the earth and be here and now and work through whatever I need to work through, whether it's an emotional or a physical tension or whatever it might be. I do that deliberately, and I do that with my whole self, mind, body, and spirit. So we'll talk about that as well. I invite you to follow me on social media. I finally have the page set up where this is streaming live to right now. The Self Care is My Job YouTube show and podcast Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram if you like at the underscore aligned underscore heart. And much more to come in this series. I really am so looking forward to having these amazing conversations. I even have some lined up already. We're going to be talking with Stacey Urig, who is a self-proclaimed foul-mouthed mindset flipper. She literally flips mindsets. That's her whole thing. So she's going to be a part of our mind discussion. We're going to talk with Jessica Kipshaw, who is a health and nutrition lifestyle coach, to talk about our body and how to take better care. There's going to be so much. Okay. So don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel if you're into it. And I really can't wait to see you again. And I hope this is helpful. Please do shoot me any feedback or requests or questions. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.